Good day, ma'ams and sirs, and welcome to episode 2 of the Number 9 podcast, which is essentially a sausage fest with the little mini Vienna-style sausages. That's myself and my brother from another mother, Chris Farley's less attractive stunt double, T-double-double, body like Barney Rubble, meaner than Joe Green, the boy so fresh and so clean like an all-girls college swim team, he stays nice but he gets mean, Chunk Dizzle, too big to dunk and dribble, Tommy fucking Washington, what's up?
Not much, Pat. Ready to, pretty excited for the topics that we got in store today. Ready to get this podcast started. What do you say?
Let's do this. Have you gotten any feedback on the podcast?
No, Pat. I have gotten zero. I mean, we got 10 downloads so far in the first episode.
The only feedback I got was that Black Sabbath was a 70s band, not an 80s band. I'd say that was a successful first episode. Let's get this second episode fucking started.
Fuck the guy that said that. So I was scrolling through Facebook the other day, and I saw this from a news site. Tebow's Bible message triggers sensitive content warning from Twitter. So, at first I thought he said something about God in it, right? So I was like, that's kind of ridiculous.
It does say Bible message.
Yeah. So I think it says, I'm like, that's ridiculous, right? Why would that be sensitive information?
Who's gonna God block?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a godly person. I don't really believe. But to say that sensitive information is kind of ridiculous. So then I start looking more into it, and this is exactly what the tweet was. This could be your time. That breakthrough could be tomorrow, or it could be next year. But you have the opportunity to turn, however, you're being tested into a testimony. So many heroes were wounded deeply before they were used greatly. Is that really a quote from the Bible?
No. It says Bible-based motivational video.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how that is sensitive information at all. I mean, if anything...
I'm not sure how it's Bible-based. So many heroes were wounded deeply before they were used greatly. I mean, that literally could be a reference to anything. That could be a reference to, like, the history of cinema. It could literally be a reference to anything. But because it came from Tim Tebow, it's Bible-based?
Yeah. I mean...
Not to mention, the dude is spreading positivity in what I feel like is the worst period of America in my lifetime anyways. I don't think it's the worst period of America in history. But it's certainly not exactly a gleaming example of what a great country we are. And this guy's trying to spread positivity. I'm not sure that I would stop anybody from being positive right now.
Well, and they didn't stop him. You know what I mean? They didn't tell him to take it down. But to consider that potentially sensitive content. Now, I went to Twitter and I looked at this tweet. And it no longer says that.
Okay, so now it's not sensitive?
Well, once you hit all the major news networks for this would be like them saying, do you know who Gary Vee is?
Yeah.
Awesome guy. Love him, right? Very positive, very uplifting. And
very motivational.
Yes. And that would be like them saying, this is sensitive content. Now, he could be considered sensitive content because he swears like a drunken sailor, but I'm okay with that.
Is he also a super weed advocate?
I'm not sure. I know he's a super entrepreneur, and he pushes people to do stuff like what we're doing right now.
Yeah. I mean, so here's what I'm thinking. Like, there's not a pastor, a priest, a rabbi, a brother, a father, a nun, a something that has a Twitter account that talks religion all day, every day on their Twitter account? Because if they do, wouldn't you have to flag everything they say as sensitive material at that point?
But this guy doesn't even mention God once in that tweet.
That's what I'm saying. So,
or the Bible.
But the headline there from WT Houston is Twitter censors Bible-based motivational video posted by pro baseball player Tim Tebow. So maybe we're missing. Did you see the video?
I don't see any video. Oh, you know what? I take that back. There was a video and I didn't watch it.
I feel like that may be what we're missing. Dude, I don't know what's on your Twitter feed, but you got some weird stuff going on.
Oh, that's this guy. That's not myself.
Oh, okay. So is that the video?
All right, so I found the video, and I'm gonna play it now so you can hear what he says.
We're Bible believers, and we look at the Bible, and we see a lot of the heroes. A lot of times, they truly were wounded deeply before they were ever used greatly. And so maybe you're going through a time in your life where you feel like you've just been wounded greatly. And it hasn't been your year, hasn't been your day. You don't feel like this is your time. But this could be your time for learning. This could be your time for growing. This could be your time for adapting. This could be the time that is a test for you, but tomorrow it gets to turn into a testimony, because you never know what God is doing with your life. You never know what He is preparing you for. So many times in the Bible, when we look at the heroes, there were times in their life where if they stopped, if they quit, if they said, "No, God, I've had enough," then they would have missed out on the most impactful, most influential times of their life. Maybe that is the next step for you. Maybe that is tomorrow. Maybe that is next week. Maybe that is next year. But when we quit, we will never know what we missed out on. We will never know what's in store for us. Because maybe that breakthrough's coming tomorrow. Maybe it's next year. Maybe you have still a little bit more time going through a hard time in your life. But I can tell you this, we get to trust an unknown future to a known God, because we know how much He loves us. We know what He did for us in sending His Son. He gave His best for us. He gave His best for us. And when we remember that, then we can have trust in the character of our God, because we know how much He loves us. That's how we get through the tough times. It's because we know, we don't think, we know how much God loves us and how much He loves you. Right where you're at, whatever you're doing, whatever you're going through, He loves you. You were enough for His Son to die on the cross. That's how much you're loved. Hold on to that in your time of need.
So I think that was very, impactful. It was very God-based, more so than I thought. But at the same time, why is that sensitive information or sensitive content?
Yeah, I took two things out of that. One, if that's me, right, and I'm like, Slim Jims are the best snack around. Like, I love Slim Jims. They taste good. I love their snappy skin. They're fairly inexpensive. They're readily available. And I start listing the reasons that I love Slim Jims. That's not sensitive material. It is my opinion.
Yeah.
But this man is motivated. He's passionate. He's determined to speak about something that means a lot to him. I don't think that's sensitive material. I fucking love Slim Jims, and that should not be considered sensitive material either. The second thing I took away from that is he has the stupidest fucking haircut.
Hold on, time out.
Did you see the haircut?
Listen, I'm fine with the haircut, but the problem with Slim Jims, Pat, is that after you eat them, you ever burp a Slim Jim up?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's like puking Taco Bell when you're drunk. I have no beef with Slim Jims, bro.
A guy that's been drunk, what, like once?
No, I haven't been drunk in a very, very long time.
Yeah,
there was a time when I...
Yeah, I don't think you remember. But anyway. Yeah, listen, I'm not a godly person at all. And to be honest with you, I don't like having God pushed on me.
Which is weird, because he has the body of Buddha, which is a god. But
at the same time, I also don't follow Tim Tebow. Right?
Yeah.
On Twitter. So if I don't follow Tim Tebow on Twitter, I'm not going to see the sensitive information unless somebody I follow retweets it.
Or if it gets flagged as sensitive and hits every national media source out there.
So I wouldn't even know about this unless I saw it on my Facebook feed is actually where I saw it. So it now went to a totally different social media platform.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really clear example of somebody using his power for what he feels is good. I have no beef with people doing what they think is right. This actually goes back to, I mean, had we had a podcast when Kaepernick took the knee, I I was wholeheartedly against it. And now I think about it, and I'm like, the dude like had a platform to say what he wanted to say. It was going to offend people. It was going to appease people. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. He got everybody's attention. It was effective.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't feel like it was effective?
It was
You don't know what
effective.
I'm talking about?
Yes, it was definitely effective.
Yeah. So this is.
I don't think
this is somebody using the position that he's in to get his message across. You don't have to agree
And
with
you know
it.
what? You don't have to agree with the fact that he's saying it's a god, right? Just he's spreading positivity.
Yeah.
Like, and he's telling you to basically believe in yourself. Shoot your shot when it's your time to shoot your shot. Do your podcast when you're ready to do your podcast.
Yeah, and if you're going through hell, tuck your chin.
Yeah. We all have bad times. We all have good times. I mean, look, Tim Tebow used to be a starter in the NFL. Now he's playing this guy, the guy who retweeted this and put that up there, that he was a professional baseball player, straight up lied to a bunch of people. He's not a professional baseball player. He plays for the minor leagues. That's not professional.
Well, I mean, he works for a professional organization. He plays
So
for
don't
the
the
Mets
people-
farm team.
Yeah, so don't the people who play in New Britain. Doesn't mean they're professionals.
I'm pretty sure they are. They get paid to do a sport
Listen,
that's professional. They're not amateurs.
They're not getting paid.
They-
$60 a game is not getting paid.
Listen, so in fighting, right?
Yeah.
The difference between a pro fighter and an amateur fighter is, did you collect a purse? You don't have
Listen,
to win.
I'm
You don't
with
have to
you.
lose.
I'm with
It's if you get $50 for being there,
This
you are
poor
considered a
bastard's
pro.
making no money. I mean, I feel bad for Tim.
I don't think that he is making nearly as much as he made in NFL. And since we're on the topic, I don't think he's making as much as he made while he was in college. That's right.
I don't think he's making as much as he did when he was in high school working at Taco Bell in the drive-thru.
That's possible.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why our world is the way it is, especially with people that are positive. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, staying on the topic of things I saw on the news or on Twitter in the last couple of days, did you see that Trump is trying to ban all of TikTok?
TikTok, I did not.
TikTok.
TikTok is a breath mint. TikTok is the popular app where moms dance with their daughters, and I'm trying to get you to physically assault me repeatedly for different TikTok videos.
So this is a true story. My wife posted she was posting on TikTok behind my back, even though I told her not to. So she did we had a bear jump in our pool last year, and she posted a video of that with a montage to some music, and got over 100,000 likes on it. So that's pretty cool.
Which brings us to my idea where we make a series of TikTok videos. And please, if you're listening to this, give some feedback in the comments, or if you see us, that this is a genius fucking idea and you would love to see it happen. Where we make a series of videos where Tom hurts me with different things. Like he staples me, or he tases me, or he throws a fucking dart at me.
Can I shoot you?
Can you shoot me with what?
A gun.
Tom, I tried to show you the video of two guys shooting each other in the foot, and you couldn't handle it. You think you can handle shooting me in the foot?
I handled it. The guy was just a moron.
That was awesome. If you haven't seen it, look it up. There's a dude who has his foot wrapped up in like gauze pads, and he's talking about how they were playing Russian roulette and he got shot in the foot. He just got out of the hospital, and he's trying to avenge his loss in Russian roulette. They have a revolver, like a 6-round handgun, and they're spinning the barrel with one bullet in the gun, and they keep going back and forth. It's like 4 or 5 exchanges, and then the dude gets shot in his other foot. It is hysterical, and yeah, a lot of people couldn't watch it. They were not happy I kept showing everybody.
I mean, I watched it. It's just that guy. Like, you ever see something embarrassing and you just can't stand to watch it?
No.
You've never seen nothing like that?
No.
That you feel embarrassed for the person?
No, I have to watch it more and more times.
I felt so dumb for that guy because
There was so much blood.
was a moron. By the way, your foot is a bleeder, in case you didn't know.
Hands, feet, and face. Hands, feet, and face.
So, we got a little off topic there. So we're talking about TikTok. So
Yeah, TikTok.
So Trump, and I've heard this circling around that TikTok is stealing people's information because it's a Chinese-based company and they're going to try and use it against us. So Trump came out Friday, July 31st, and said, while he was on Air Force One, that he was going to ban TikTok using an executive order within the next 24 hours. I gotta say, like, I don't know enough about it, and I've read into it a little bit. It seems like that there's some sort of proof there that they're stealing some information from us, and that the only way they're going to get out of it or be able to keep it in the United States is if they sell it, and it looks like Microsoft is the number one bidder on that. So Microsoft makes everything better, I guess, so why not?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, if we go back 5 years when we started talking about, like, you remember the PlayStation, the little camera, where PlayStation Motion, I think is what it was called, or the Xbox Connect.
Yeah, the Xbox Connect.
People were saying, like, tape over that camera, or, block those things because it was all Russian spies or Chinese spies or whatever, spies stealing your information. My answer then was, I'm not doing anything that's like, like, I'm fine with people stealing my information if it's me sitting on my couch because I'm not doing anything wrong. Now, my view on that has changed because no matter what, it's not about what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right. It's about just me having the right to my privacy. And I don't think that anybody should be able to have those things. If they posted a warning on TikTok or put, like, age restrictions on TikTok, I think that's a much more appropriate reaction to what's going on, whatever it is. I don't know enough about it. I also have the opinion that there's probably a lot of information that we don't have, we'll never get. I mean, we don't know who killed fucking Kennedy, and that was a much bigger deal, and much more people were involved, and we still have no fucking clue what happened. So I don't think we're going to get the info on who's stealing from TikTok.
Well, but because it's a Chinese-run
TikTok
company.
is?
Yes, it's owned by a Chinese company, and they're saying, I think the fear is that they're using it to plot against us. Maybe they're going to make a bunch of doppelgangers and start to replace us and kill us off one by one, and it'll actually be like AI or something.
Maybe they'll mail us a bunch of seeds for flowers and plants.
Like magic beans?
That actually happened last week.
Huh?
People all over America got packages full of seeds from Chinese, like...
Oh, I saw a meme about that with the fighting, like, the plants from Mario.
Yeah. So there's, like, warnings, like, not to plant the seeds, and I'm just like, what the fuck is the plan? Like, Corona's not bad enough.
It's probably Corona seeds.
I don't think that's a thing. I don't think we grow Corona.
Listen, it's the Chinese virus.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I don't know.
That's not the Chinese virus?
It's from China.
China. Why do you call it the Chinese virus? It's from China.
I wish we had more information. I wish we could know what they know. On the other hand, I actually don't want to know what they know. And I'm good with, if it makes sense for it to be banned, ban it. If it's a violation of our rights, don't fucking do it. And that's where we're at. I do think that if it's even in question, there should be a fucking warning up. This goes back to, like, the Surgeon General warning on cigarettes. It's dangerous. Don't do it. TikTok, hey, it's dangerous. If you're willing to put your shit out there, that's on you. I don't know. Maybe, don't TikTok in, like, federal buildings or privately owned businesses. I don't know. Maybe you can only TikTok from your house. But I don't think they should just ban an app. Seems weird.
I don't have a problem with banning it. To be honest with you, I think TikTok's kind of stupid. What's the difference from you making a video and posting it on Twitter or Facebook or whatever? It's the same shit.
Yeah.
Don't we have enough of these?
I assume that TikTok is less safe. That's the difference.
It's like, I don't understand the point of Instagram.
Pictures?
You can post pictures on every other social media. It's like, fuck, Facebook owns Instagram. Why not just let them post the pictures on Facebook?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
They can't.
Facebook is like in my head, and I know that this is not accurate, but in my head, Facebook is like your children and your family and, like, your vacation, right? Instagram is like your alter ego. Like, there's, like, you show off, like, your bikini or you show off. Like,
I think that's exactly what people do with it, bro.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, that. So I guess, like, they have different purposes. I mean, technically, I'm pretty sure you could do the same things on Pinterest that you could do on Facebook. But Pinterest is used for, like, crafts and things like that. You know what I mean?
I also think that because if you post on Instagram, you can post it on Facebook and vice versa.
Yeah, I think like if you.
Oh no, you can't post from Facebook to Instagram, but Instagram to Facebook you can do.
Interesting.
I believe. Now listen, I haven't been on Instagram in probably 4 years.
I have an Instagram.
I have one. I don't use it.
No, that's the extent of my story. I have one.
Well, we're talking about Twitter and everything. Give us a follow at the Number 9 Podcast on Twitter.
That's right. Shout out to the Number 9 Podcast.
Word. So while we're veering off the subject of different apps, Pat, how's the online dating going?
I mean, I'm having decent success. I'm not at the point, if you recall, there was a time when I was going to write a book called Gone Fishing, when I was having some real success off of Plenty of Fish. But I am having
How'd that
fun.
one work out, the one you caught off there?
Yeah, the reason that I didn't write the book was the last girl that I met on the website, and I should have written the book instead of dating the girl. That's where we're at. If the book sold 0 copies, I'd still have way more money than if I met that fucking girl.
It happens. It happens.
She's.
It happens to the best of us. I mean, 6 years of your life gone.
True story. True story.
What were you saying earlier about the Tinder app? There's a bunch of fake models on there.
Yeah, Tinder's like, I mean, it's like a gamble. You know, like the better looking the girl, the less likely she is to be an actual human being. So then they're like, you know, some of the girls are just like, as soon as you say hi, they're like, follow me on Snapchat, let's talk there. Some of them just put it right in their profile. All of them are fake. There's actually a girl from Waterbury, again, that's about 15 minutes from where we're doing this podcast.
Oh, stop saying it's 15 minutes. We're not in Thompson. It's easily 25 minutes away.
Thomaston is 12 minutes from here. Waterbury is not more than 10 minutes from Thomaston.
Okay.
That's
it's
22
more than
minutes.
3.
Okay, it's almost 20 minutes, whatever. 15, 20 minutes.
All right.
That's a very, very small difference. I'm glad we wasted 45 seconds of precious air.
Listen, man, we have to fill these gaps of time in.
To anybody who's listening to this, I apologize that Tom's a nitpicker.
I'm sorry that Pat doesn't know how to tell time.
That's all right. That's not telling time. I can read a clock, asshole.
All right, if you say so.
Anyways, she's from Waterbury, this chick, and she like initiates a conversation with me, whatever. So as I'm talking to her,
She initiated the conversation.
yeah, which is a dead giveaway. Listen, for anybody who doesn't know what I look like, I'm fat. I have red hair. I have horrible tattoos, like old school. Don't get me wrong, I love my tattoos.
His beard is atrocious.
They're very
as well.
old school. My beard is the exact same as Tom's, so that's
No, man,
it's
yours
weird that
wraps
he's
underneath
insulting
the
it.
fucking chin and stuff.
That it hides my second chin. My beard is like a cloak for the second chin.
All right.
So
I'm not gonna do that. It'll bother me too much.
well, whatever. I'd rather not look like I have multiple chins.
All right. But
So this chick is a straight up prostitute. Like there's no other way to word it. I'm not mistaking what she has said to me. She's like, follow me on Snapchat, meet me there. And she, again, this was like a real conversation. This is a human being. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But then we're on Snapchat, and her Snapchat is like, it's like you can book an appointment for this girl to visit you. And there's like hourly rates and stuff.
so I wouldn't call her a prostitute. She's an escort.
All right. She has sex for money.
How do you know that for sure? Did you call her?
Because it says that she has sex for money.
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry, she offers companionship technically.
Yeah,
but
that's
there's a
an
bunch.
escort.
There's like there are a bunch that list themselves as like masseuses, which anybody in that field is a massage therapist. There's a huge difference between a massage therapist that does therapeutic massage and a masseuse that gives happy endings. They list themselves as masseuses and say like, you know, $95 an hour, more money for the special ending or happy ending or whatever but I mean there's an abundance of, and maybe this is pandemic related, I don't know, but there's an abundance of women looking to exchange money for sex, which is super weird to me. I've never paid for it other than like the ultimate price of having to deal with people.
I bet you looking back, you wish you paid for it. It probably would have cost you a lot less money.
It depends on the girl, man. It depends on the girl. And you got to give it time. This is like comedy is like tragedy plus time equals comedy. My ex-wife and I get along great now, but there was a period of time where that relationship was not worth the amount that I put into it.
So mind you, this is getting off topic, but I want to tell a story about Pat's ex-wife. I knew Pat's ex-wife, I thought pretty well. I used to work for Pat years ago, and they actually, the year I graduated high school, took me and another kid that had worked for Pat at the time out for our right around the time we were graduating for an entire day and spent a bunch of money on us doing all this stuff with his wife. And so fast forward 12 years later, Pat and I are hanging out, and she doesn't remember who the hell I am. I'm pretty shocked by that.
Yeah, I mean, not a real memorable guy.
I don't think that's the case, Pat. I don't think she's not a real memorable girl.
Oh, that's weird, because you remember her.
I remember everybody I come in contact with, Pat. It's one of my gifts.
For the record, they did not come in contact. I just want to throw that out there. They met each other. There was no contact or coming.
Definitely coming.
Yeah, no. The dating app's cool.
Look, I've never been on Twinder or
Twinder.
Jesus.
That's like Twitter and Tinder. So basically, what you do is instead of trying to find dates, you just say things to each other, but you never actually make any contact whatsoever. Good for you.
You must have found somebody on there, huh, Pat?
I have had a very long-term relationship with a girl that I did not ever meet. Yeah, that's. I mean, it was oof.
So anyway,
still 100 times cooler than Tommy.
It happens. So I was. I've never been on Tinder because right when Tinder got hot, I was dating my now wife. But I was on Plenty of Fish back in the day.
Yeah.
And
is that where you met the girl who did the thing?
The squirt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You met the squirt.
It was awesome. I know that some people are grossed out by that. I think that's one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen in my life.
I get queasy thinking about you enjoying it. Like it's not the act of squirting itself. It's the idea of you being turned on.
Like
grosses me the fuck out.
I'm all about it, bro.
Oh my god.
I'm all about it.
I picture it's almost like inside of a dream where things don't really have to make sense, right? Because it's a dream. And I see I
don't understand how you find it so weird that people enjoy that.
It's not. No. It's not that people enjoy it.
It's
That's
just
not weird.
That
it's you personally. Yes.
I don't understand.
You gross me out. Tom does this thing when he sneezes, right? So when I sneeze, it's like I'm getting everything I can out of my body. The sneeze is exiting, like the demon is leaving my insides. Tom does this thing where I hope in the near future, I might throw some pepper at him on a podcast to get him to sneeze. I hope you all have the pleasure of hearing him sneeze. He does what I call holding it in, where he gets real built up, and then there's this really weird finale, and snot shoots out of his fucking nostrils.
Not every
time, but when it happens, it haunts me. And if it didn't haunt me, he reminds me very frequently. He has this picture of snot hanging out of both nostrils from after a sneeze. I'm pretty sure he's going to send me right now. And he will randomly send me this picture in the middle of a work day or on my lunch break when I'm eating. And I open it up, and it's just Tom with two huge snot missiles, much bigger than snot rockets, hanging out of his nostrils because he's the most disgusting human being on the planet.
Pat, I took that because...
By the way, Mason, sorry to interrupt you. Mason, who's our buddy who wants to be on the podcast, we're going to have him on for an episode, got a new baby girl, Willow, who is just adorable. She looks just like him. It is like a little baby Mason. Mason saw the picture of the main picture of the podcast of us wrestling in the front yard, or me wrestling and you laying there, and referred to you as a massive black bear.
Yeah, I saw that. He posted that on the page.
Classic. Makes me happy.
All right. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a fat joke by Mason or whatnot. And back to the sneezing thing. Listen, my dad did that when I was a kid. And would you rather have me sneeze and shoot spit all over the place? Or would you rather just have me hold it in? What feels really nice is my back gets tight, and if I sneeze one of those, bang, back cracks feel great.
Hold on. Your question was, would I rather have you spit at me or blow snot rockets at me?
Yeah.
And you think that the answer is I'd rather have the snot rockets?
Well, it's a guarantee
Hold
if
on.
I let it go.
If there were two glasses and you had to have one thrown in your face, and one was filled with spit and the other was filled with snot, which one would you let somebody throw in your face? You have to pick one.
I'm going to pick the spit, but what you don't understand is that every time with this sneeze, if I let it out, there's spit. Only like 1 out of every 10 times does the snot come out.
If we could run this scenario...
It's actually more, it's probably more like 1 out of every probably 50 times that the snot comes out.
Okay. Okay. Let's just assume that the average person sneezes 3 times in a day. I don't even know if that's close to accurate. Can you hit Google and find out how often the average person sneezes? Because I want to find out, if you think you do this once every 50 times, I want to know how many times in a month you blow snot rockets uncontrollably out of your nostrils in a way that is enough to gag a fucking maggot. All right, so the average, we just hit the Google. Oh, you son of a bitch, I have a picture text from Tom. This is so bad. That means I can't open any more text from Tom until I'm like empty stomach. Oh, God.
So the
average person sneezes 1.2 times in a day. I'm going to do that by a 30-day month. That's 36 times in a month. That means once every month and a week and a half. Once, well, let's see, a month is 4.3
we'll call it every
weeks.
6 weeks.
We'll call it every 5.5 weeks. Maybe 5. You
Hold on, so you're going
blow
under.
snot all over yourself.
Okay, that's better than me blowing spit all over your face 30 or 50 times.
Why can't you sneeze into your elbow?
Well, with COVID now I do, but before I would
Why
just let it
wouldn't
fly.
you sneeze into your elbow before COVID?
Because I hold them in.
But you think that COVID is the first time that it was a good idea to cover your mouth to sneeze?
Pat, I don't like people.
Let me ask you. When did you start wiping your ass?
I don't remember.
Was it before COVID?
No.
I didn't think so.
All right. That's fair. Listen, you get what I mean.
Yeah, you're gross. That's where we're at. Tom is disgusting.
So, anyway. So, what other dating apps are there out there?
As far as legit dating apps, I think Bumble's a good dating app. Bumble is where when you match, the girl is the first one to make contact. So the guy cannot send the girl a message without the girl sending a message first. And she has 24 hours to do it. So, like, if you match, she could just ignore you for 24 hours, which is basically the story of my life. And then after that 24-hour period, there's just no match anymore.
Really goes away. Now,
Yeah.
does it get recycled? Like, you can come cross paths again at some point?
On all the apps that I've ever seen, for whatever reason, whether you, like, swipe right, swipe left, swipe in the middle, it doesn't matter. Somehow, girls get recycled.
What's your worst experience on dating app?
Oof.
Let's do one. How
the-
about your worst experience recently on a dating app? And then we can do your worst experience long time ago.
It's almost a podcast in itself.
Yeah, I'm only telling you to choose one.
I feel like you have one in mind, because I have so many good and bad in mind.
I think I have both one from recent, and when I say recent, I mean the last year and a half. And then when I say old, I'm saying maybe 6 years ago.
Okay, I know the 6 years ago one, only it was more than that. The last year and a half, are we talking about...
Shit, it probably was more than that. It was probably...
Are we? I don't even know what. I know originally we thought that she was Middle Eastern. She was not Middle Eastern.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of that girl.
Oof. I don't know who you were thinking of. Oh, were you thinking of the girl that I drove to Hartford to pick up?
The one in the hotel.
I mean, yeah, that one. Yeah, so you got to learn important lessons, right? This actually should be like memories with a silver lining material right here.
Memories with a silver lining.
All right, so yeah, I meet this girl. We gotta come up with a fake name for this girl. So since you don't know what the girl's name was, and neither do I. Either one of us can make up a name. I'm going to go with Honey Bun. So, Honey Bun...
That's a realistic name.
I'll get to... You know what? If you remind me at the end of this Silver Lining message, I will tell you why I came up with Honey Bun. So, Honey Bun and I start talking. Honestly, I don't remember the app. I'm going to say it was Bumble. So we start talking, and she's in the hospital. She has a broken leg or something to that effect. Her leg is negatively impacted by life. I don't know what happened to it. At the time I did. And, man, we just have like a really good conversation from the rip. It's going well. She's into stuff I'm into. And so... and she just has this very pretty face, and I'm very much a face guy. There's butt guys, there's chest guys. I'm a face guy. I love a pretty face. While I love all the other things, my thought is, like, if I'm kissing you, I'm kissing your face. Really? Wow. Who's got to silence their fucking phone now, buddy? Anyways, so this girl has a bunch of pictures of her face, and this is where we're headed with this story. Is the silver lining here is when you meet somebody off of a dating app, you need full body photos, you need face photos, a phone call is not a bad idea, and maybe just maybe a FaceTime. Like, we have the technology to not set yourself up for failure. But this was, I was just out of a long-term relationship, and basically like a rookie in the game again, right? Like, I had taken a retirement and I've gone back. So now I'm wearing the number 45 and I'm playing with a different team. I don't have Pippen with me. I don't have my confidence up at all. So I'm not paying attention. I'm just excited to go meet a new girl and enjoy myself. So we talk. She's in the hospital. She gets out of the hospital. And I'm a little bit skeptical because I've told some people about her, and they're like, the best thing you can do is, like, you need to, like, get a video of her. I'm not even sure FaceTime was a thing, but not super popular at the time. So I have her send me a video. What I'm not paying attention to is this video is also from the neck up. Again, this girl has a very pretty face. So I go to pick her up in Hartford. Now, this is like, what, 45 minutes? The drive?
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. So she has this great big bay window in the front of her house. She's staying with her parents. She says that she's staying with her parents because of the injury, right? So, no big deal. I got no beef with that.
Would you even had a problem if she was staying with her parents because that's where she lived?
No, that wouldn't have bothered me.
Okay.
But we had discussed this. We were getting along really well. And we were going to get a hotel for the evening and share each other's company, get to know each other a little better. So I see her stand up in this bay window. This girl who, I would like to point out, one more time, has a very pretty face. She stands up, and I'm looking through the bay window from the street, and I go, there's not a single chance on the face of this planet that girl is this girl. This girl is very, very big, which I realize how shallow and superficial that makes me sound. But this girl has purposely hidden her body from me.
Oh, so she's the wrong person. Maybe she did that because of people like you, Patrick.
I'm not done with her dishonesty, okay? Because, so I take the heel turn at the end of the story, but there's a lot of buildup. Like, Anakin didn't just join the fucking dark side. He did it for what he thought was the right reasons, and I stand by Anakin's decision. Anakin did what he had to do to keep Queen Amidala alive. Anyways, shout out to Star Wars fans. So she waddles her ass outside, okay?
You are such a fucking prick.
Maybe she waddled like a penguin. I didn't say she was... well, I did before. Anyways, so she has suitcases with her. That was plural. Multiple suitcases. They don't match. Her luggage doesn't match. But clearly, she is like she has invested in a long-term plan wherever she's going. But for some reason, she's now loading the suitcases, and I'm helping her load the suitcases for whatever reason, because I've already driven 45 minutes. I got to see where the night's going. So we load these suitcases into my car, and she starts talking about how she's done with her parents. She doesn't want to be around them. They're awful. They aren't letting her heal. I don't know. She's significantly, I want to say she was, on her profile, she was in her late 20s. It might have been early 30s, but I'm almost positive it was late 20s. In real life, I don't think she was anywhere near her 20s. I think she was closer to 40 tons. And
You are a fucking horrible person.
which part?
All.
Because she was old?
Yes.
Okay. Listen, my point is, those pictures of what I assume were her much better looking sister were very misleading. And the video that she sent, or had her sister send, was not the girl. And listen, it was very similar to the girl, but also very, very different. Either way, now I'm in a very awkward position because I'm just out of a relationship. I've connected really well with this girl. I feel like she's lied about a lot of the things that I felt were like a part of our newfound relationship. This has gone on for like a week and a half of her healing in the hospital.
Like pretty much getting married at that point.
Well, we had a lot of very long, like we were talking all day, every day. So I was very excited for this night. So now I'm watching her check into this hotel because she has called ahead and set this up. Which also should have been a red flag for me because she was very enthusiastic about this. And I cannot reiterate that no girl should ever be enthusiastic about hooking up with a guy that looks like me. So we get the room. We walk into the room. She starts opening suitcases. And there is like a suitcase of makeup. There's a suitcase of clothing. There's like suitcases of knickknacks. She has straight moved out of her parents' house in suitcases. And we're in this hotel in the middle of her move. I don't know if this is like her new semi-permanent residence. I don't know if this is just a stopping station for her. I don't know if this is a trap and I'm like her new roommate. I have no clue what's going on. I do know, though, that she is super excited to get into the bed with me. And I'm trying to figure out how this is going to work. Not like position-wise, because I already know I'm on top. Like this is hands down. She cannot. At best, we could be on a level playing field if I'm behind her. Like that's optimally. This is going to be bad. So lights are off. We're just like talking in bed. I am super uncomfortable. I have no clue what I should do, and there is things going on. There's touching. There's kissing. So she finally just like volunteers to fillet me. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to say no. Like, it's been a very long time with one girl and one mouth. And I am excited at the opportunity for some strange. So I let her. And not going to lie, she tried harder. She did a great job. So to wrap this up, I walked into the bathroom of the hotel room. I took a very loud, like the really airy shits where it's mostly farts and water. I took one of those shits that I'm sure she heard. I mean, I was pushing. And then I kind of just, I washed myself. I took a little shower quickly. It was very hot. The hotel room did not have air conditioning.
The fucking hotel are you staying in that didn't have air conditioning?
It's not that it didn't have it, it's that it wasn't working. And it was disgusting, the hotel room. Like, the hotel in general was gross, but the hotel room was also disgusting.
I would have been out.
Oh, so that's where I'm headed, though. So I take my nasty diarrhea poop, which was very loud, and then I kind of just like, I'm like, all right, I gotta go, but I'll be back in the morning. I'm really sorry. I don't want to dip on you. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I gotta go. And then she called me in the morning and she was super pissed off. She said that I fucking mistreated her and that I just left her and I had made promises that, we were going to spend the night together. And all I could think of was her carrying all of these suitcases to the car, and I had no guilt whatsoever. I just but your question was, what was the worst fairly recent, that probably takes the cake. I called her Honey Bun because remember that song that we used to freestyle back in the store in Bristol, and it was tons of fun. She's tons of fun. It's Mickey D's fries and honey buns. So that's where Honey Bun came from.
Runs.
Yeah, combination that'll give you the runs. Exactly. So that's a lot of where that name came from. And again, I don't feel bad about this, man.
I feel like to a degree you should.
Hold on. The silver lining to this story is I learned a lot about online dating. And to be fair, I had been online dating. Again, I was going to write the book. I was going to write Gone Fishing. I was killing it online dating before that long-term relationship. Now I'm fresh out of that relationship, and I've got nothing. I'm like fucking Austin Powers without my mojo, right? And this was a great way. This was a reality check. Like, you need to get back on your shit, bro.
So let's go back to 6 years or longer than that, probably 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
What do you think your worst experience there was, Pat?
Are you referring to the girls up in Mass?
Yes.
Okay. So this one's an easy one to name. We're going to call her the Mass Hole. So I meet the Mass Hole. I'm going to say on Plenty of Fish, actually. I think that was back in the fishing days. So we hit it off.
Quick question. Is Plenty of Fish still around?
Plenty of Fish is still around. It is subpar at best. That's the best description I can give for Plenty of Fish. It's like where daters go to die.
That's where I met the squirter.
But yeah, that was back in its heyday.
Yeah.
Now it's like if you don't want to find somebody online, go on Plenty of Fish and you're golden. Success.
That's also where I found the girl that we saw at Walmart.
She was not good from far and was far from good. So
that's not nice. She looked a lot better since then. She's been married and had a couple kids or something like that.
To eat? Oh, she was hideous.
Hey, maybe it was the girl that broke her leg.
I don't think it was the same girl, though it's possible I don't remember what that girl looked like.
Okay.
So the Mass Hole is, we hit it off, we have great conversation, and this is another lesson that you pick up over the lifespan of your if you're using dating apps is everybody can have a good conversation with you for the most part. Like, you have all kinds of things in common with legitimately anybody. If I found somebody on the street and just started talking to them, guy, girl, old, young, doesn't fucking matter. We have things in common. You can always find a middle ground. So this girl in the Mass Hole, which I didn't know that. So let's call that this. This is our silver lining for this story, is you can always find a middle ground with somebody that doesn't make them somebody you want to find a middle ground with. So we hit it off, and we decide we're going to go bowling. This is going to be a double date scenario because internet dating is very dangerous, and she doesn't want to get hurt by me. I don't want to get jumped by 6 40-year-old dudes. I don't know who I'm talking to. That legit, I think, is before FaceTime.
FaceTime?
Yeah, I don't think I could have video chatted her before going to meet her.
Well, FaceTime was definitely around, but it was probably in its beginning.
Yeah. So very excited. I can't wait. Geez, you had to have been, 21, 22?
I was probably 22 or 23.
We were super excited because she's bringing a friend for you. I'm going to meet this chick who just has this amazing personality. We have all these things in common. So she picks a bowling alley that's, 30 minutes past?
Yeah, it was probably 20 minutes past where she lives.
So she lives, I'm going north, right? We have to drive north to meet this chick. But then we have to go 20 minutes further north to meet this chick than where her house is. And there's a bowling alley in her town. But I don't question this because I'm really excited about meeting this girl. And because, again, I am inexperienced in the online dating. So I'm just going with the flow, just doing what seems right. And what seems right is meeting this chick who I have all these things in common with. It's really not that far. It was 45 minutes plus 20 minutes. So,
wow.
Yeah. So we
until you couldn't tell time.
Get out of the car, and First impression, she's pretty good looking. She's a good looking chick. She's thick. I like them thick. Not to be confused with Tons of Fun Honey Bun. But she's thick.
Horrible fucking person.
No. Everybody has their preferences, Tom.
I'm all about thicker women. I'm with you.
Okay.
But
so don't say I'm a horrible person.
I don't know why you're demeaning fat people. You're fat.
No. I'm demeaning the liar who misled me to believe that she was something that she wasn't and someone that she wasn't. I do want you to take this story over, though.
We have to take the story over?
No, you take over and tell the story. So we get out, we see these two girls, both of which are pretty attractive.
Yeah, they weren't bad looking. We went bowling. Had an okay time, I guess. So we're walking out to the car, right? Am I correct? We're walking because we were in the parking lot.
I'm gonna go for the first kiss here.
Yeah, Pat's gonna go in. So, but Pat's a conversation starter. So we're out there talking, and Pat just asked, like, why did you have us come all the way up here if you live 20 minutes closer to us and blah blah blah.
And there's a bowling alley in your town.
Yeah, and she goes, oh, well, there's a lot of. She used the N-word that hang out around there, and we don't like them. Now, I immediately look at Pat, and I crack up laughing.
Tom is on the ground at this point. Tom,
okay, and
Tom
it's not
has lost all the wind in his body.
I'm dead.
It's
right?
not because he thinks what she said is funny.
It's because I know Pat's reaction to this is gonna be funny.
I fucking hate racism. It is... Racism and alcoholism are really on like an even playing field for me. Oh boy, I was so disappointed. This girl legitimately broke my fucking heart without being mean towards me.
Pat was definitely very upset, and she's looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm laughing so hard. And again,
and she has no clue that there will be no first kiss.
I cannot stress this enough. I wasn't laughing at what she said. I was laughing because I knew it was over.
We were in the car and out of Massachusetts and away from that dirty, hateful, stupid woman in no time. And that was, that might actually be, because of how excited I was, that might be that's probably top 3 to 5 dating experiences.
So I'm pretty sure that after that night, you went back to, because you were talking to the ex that got you off dating. And you went to her house that night after we got back.
You might be right about that.
Yep.
It's because
it's her fault. It's the masshole's fault that you went through all that.
Man, the masshole is actually way worse than I remember her being, because what you're saying is right. But if we're going to do that, I had hooked up again with my ex-wife at one point at the beginning of that relationship. So it's her fault for not rekindling that marriage and just getting remarried and staying together.
Well, look, if you guys would have done that, we wouldn't be doing a podcast right now, but you'd be loaded.
That's true. Shout out to my ex-wife, who's doing wonderfully. She runs a rehab facility.
Don't worry, Pat won't tell her to listen, so it's not a big deal.
I don't know. I think she'd enjoy the podcast.
Well, maybe she tell some more people about it.
Maybe.
There's only 4 people watching or listening.
All we got to worry about is Tons of Fun Honey Buns and the masshole. If they're not listening, we're good. All right, enough of my sexual shortcomings. No pun intended. Let's get to some strange laws.
All right, so today we're going to do strange laws of Alabama. We're going to start right at the top of the list. Pat, you got this page open?
I'm open. I'm ready.
So it is illegal to dress up as a priest on Halloween.
Also, you can't dress up as a nun, priest, rabbi, or any member of the clergy. It's a misdemeanor, and you can be fined up to $500.
No, listen, I haven't been a kid for a long time, but did you ever have the want to dress up as a priest?
I don't think that I've ever desired to dress up as a priest. Now, I will say, there are jokes that write themselves in this. Some of them would end with, it's like taking candy from a baby.
I If anything, I think dressing up as a priest is probably the best thing for Halloween at this point. Knowing now what I know.
As far as
People in general.
Sure.
Mainly the Catholic religion.
There are a few bad.
A few?
Seeds.
Have you ever seen the movie Spotlight?
I've never seen Spotlight.
You should watch it. There's more than a few. At the end of it, it actually shows all of them. Anyway, moving forward, it is illegal to wear a fake mustache that causes laughter in church. A lot of things to do with church is illegal in Alabama. Or against the church.
That may or may not be part of a very strong religious area. A fake mustache that causes laughter in church. So basically, Groucho Marx is not allowed to go to church in Alabama because his was painted on.
Yeah, I don't think fake mustaches are funny anyway. This one, I tried to read more, and there's nothing there, but you must have windshield wipers on your car. I mean, that's just common courtesy.
Well, it also, common sense, not common courtesy, but it also super vague. So if I put windshield wipers on top of my car, am I technically within the rule book here?
Well, at that point, they're not windshield wipers. They're wipers of something else, roof.
Oh, they're still windshield wipers. They're just not being used properly.
Oh, okay. So this one I thought was interesting. No one may use a funk ball within city limits. So I Googled what is a funk ball, and a whole bunch of ball sweat stuff came up. And I was like, well, how do you funk ball in public? So, I mean, like, it's hot in Alabama. You're obviously going to get funky balls. But
I'm sorry, are you saying that there's a product for, like, your Famunda area?
No, it's like how, like, a lot of YouTube videos come up on how to prevent funk ball, like sweaty balls.
Yeah, like mud butt.
Yeah, right? But after reading into this more, what they're talking about is stink bombs. Remember those things when you were kids, you used to throw them and they fucking emitted like that rotten egg smell?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. You're not allowed to use those within the city limits once you read in more into it. So
there is nothing funnier than the countless times that those got dropped in school, because that's the worst smell.
Yes, and when you're a kid, it's even worse because you overreact to everything. It's like your dad farting and you think it's the grossest thing in the world.
Still think my dad farting is the grossest thing in the world. That's up there with you and your fucking snot rockets.
I think it's the funniest shit in the world anyway.
Also, my father eating a chicken wing. Whoa. My dad puts the entire wing in his mouth and then spits the bone out. It's almost like a cartoon character
I love it.
Eating a chicken wing. It's so gross.
Good, dude, that's talent.
My dad is the manliest man I think I've ever met in my life, and the chicken wings are just one example of this.
Anyway, no person within the city limits may possess confetti.
Like, even, okay, what if you're driving through?
I mean,
I'm going to Mardi Gras via Alabama, and I've got some confetti poppers in my car.
Well, I mean, not for nothing, right? I'm not upset with this law. Have you ever tried to clean up confetti?
Yeah.
It's a fucking mess.
So, anybody listening should, when you mail out like a birthday card or a Christmas card, you should put confetti in the seam of the card, so when they open it up, they have a big mess to clean up. There's nothing funnier than that.
Well, the only downside is you don't get to see it.
Oh, you'll hear about it. Don't worry.
All right, fair enough. It's illegal to spit in public.
I don't think that's a weird law. I don't know why that's on a weird law site.
You think it should be illegal to spit?
No, I don't think you should be spitting in public. I think, like, okay, so a law has a precedent. No law is made without precedent. So somebody was spitting in such a way in public that it then became against the law. Like, if I have like some buildup or some phlegm and I spit, nobody's making a law about that. I want to know what put this little, like, those wheels in motion that was like, nope, this is out of control. This person spit far too much in public. Like, they spit on somebody, because that's not the law.
I guess. I mean, I don't have a problem with seeing people spit as long as it's not a woman. I think that's gross seeing a woman spit.
Are we still talking like a regular, like a loogie, or are we talking about like you threw her a baby shower and she's trying to get it out of her mouth as quickly as humanly possible?
Either way, that's gross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If it goes in the mouth, it has to get swallowed.
All right. Well, now we know Tom's stance.
All right. So that's it for Strange Laws of Alabama, for at least off this website. Pat, how do you feel to have sports back?
Man, I just can't wait for football season to start. If football season is going to start, when football season is going to start.
Well, they already reported the training camp.
Yeah, I mean, you see the teams that had players not show up, like they opted out of playing.
A bunch of the Patriots did.
Patriots were packed with players, yeah.
Well, and the reason, I don't want to say that this is the reason, but the benefit to that is that it gives them a bunch of cap space because now they don't have to pay those players. So the Patriots can actually go out and get some decent players so that they can, since they lost Brady, they don't have Gronkowski, they have Edelman. They have some people on the defense, but they lost some in the offseason. So I think Belichick's going to do what Belichick does, and they'll definitely be a contender. But the Bills are going to be a good team this year. They got a pretty good, solid team left over from last year. So it should be a pretty good division. I hate the Patriots, so I hope they lose.
Were you a Cam Newton fan when he was on the Panthers?
No, I've never been a Cam Newton fan. I think he's a great quarterback, but I'm not a fan.
I'm a big Cam Newton. I should say I don't have a team. I just like to watch football. He is fun to watch, so I like Cam Newton.
So let me ask you this, because Pat hates all the people that take over for the greats. Steve Young hates him because he took over for Joe Montana.
True story.
Aaron Rodgers hates him because he took over for Brett Favre.
True story. Andrew Luck
Because he took over for Peyton Manning.
Yep.
Even though these are no fault of those specific people.
Nope.
Pat's just a spiteful fuck and doesn't understand that people get old, they can't play as good as they used to. So they have to get replaced because at the end of the day, it's a business.
All true. I would still have Joe Montana behind center right now.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Anyway, so let me ask you. So Cam Newton is potentially, he may not be, but potentially going to take over for the greatest quarterback of all time. Do you hate Cam Newton now?
No. Cam Newton had a name before this.
Oh, okay. So it's...
Not to mention, I am just now getting over hating Brady for taking over for Bledsoe.
But Bledsoe Bledsoe was good, but he wasn't great.
The Patriots team was a winning team, and Bledsoe was running it.
For one season.
Well, okay.
For one season.
I didn't say they were, a dynasty at the time. But they
Tom
were.
Brady's who made it what it is. Well, that's not even true either. Bill Belichick is who made it what it is.
Well, we'll see. Well,
we're gonna see.
That question is about to get answered.
We're gonna see. But yeah, I'm more football than I am anything. It's nice to scroll through Twitter and actually see clips of games and stuff like that with basketball and stuff. I'm not a big basketball guy. I'll follow it a little bit. LeBron seems to always be in the news, so there's always something going on with him. But baseball's back. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I follow the Red Sox. They got beat up last night by the Yankees. But it's good to have it back.
Thanks to Fight Island, UFC was not too dramatically affected. Like I watched the UFCs on pay-per-view, and they were totally watchable without the crowd, which is weird to like. So I'm also a huge pro wrestling fan. Not watchable without the crowd. It is not even stomachable. Well, and I'm a 30-year wrestling fan. I've watched since I was a little guy, and I love wrestling. And I can't bear the thought of even watching a single episode right now. I'm so out of touch with it. It's unbelievable.
Well, but also the UFC is straight up fighting, so they're not
and
there for the crowd.
It's one-on-one, yeah. And like the crowd doesn't have a part in the show.
Where with wrestling it does.
Yeah.
And they act like the crowd's still there.
Which is super weird. I wish so much that they would change the way they're doing professional wrestling right now to not involve the crowd. A, that doesn't exist. And B, I came up with this idea a long time ago. We talked about it. I still think it's a good idea. They should have stopped wrestling. Pro wrestling is like half wrestling, half soap opera. They should have kept the soap opera going. They should have had like little breakout fights like backstage or little fist fights,
Yeah, but we're in the middle of 4 months. How do you do that for 4 months?
Well, every single television show in the history of television has done it. They've all had dramatic storylines without people jumping off the top rope. Wrestling's actually the only one that does that. So they could do it. It's totally reasonable. And they could have built up so much anticipation for when they did have a crowd. And it could have been a time that storylines really came to a close, which now that I don't know what they're doing.
Can I spoil something for you?
Yeah, because I'm not going to go back and catch up. Like, that's not happening.
The Fiend went after Alexa Bliss. I saw it on.
I saw a picture of it.
Yeah.
That's my favorite female wrestler and my favorite male wrestler in a storyline together. So that makes me want to watch it.
So that was like somewhat porn for you.
Yeah, because he's a good looking. Well, I mean, she is beautiful. Alexa Bliss. Whew,
Yeah.
she might be the hottest female wrestler of all time.
Maybe. But so the only sport was UFC. They stuck around. And NASCAR. NASCAR stuck around. They did the virtual racing on iRacing.
How'd that go?
Okay, I didn't watch any of it, but I know that a bunch of people got suspended and lost sponsorships and stuff for stuff that they were saying. One guy used the N-word, lost his ride, which was weird to me. It was Kyle Larson, and I believe he's not black, but he is not white. He's a different ethnicity. I think he's from the Spanish descent, and he got fired, which is justifiable, I guess. I mean, you shouldn't be using those type of words, and why would you, especially, what's different from you being in a fake cockpit driving a car and being in the real cockpit driving a car and not using, what led you to use that word?
When they're in the cockpit, their fans can listen to the individual cars. Yeah, so it is standard for him to know better than to use that word in the privacy of his car.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so there's really no excuse for it. Now this comes back to the Tebow thing, right? We talked about Tebow being a person of influence and using his influence for good. That should not be censored. This guy is using his influence in a very negative manner, whether it's just not watching himself or whether it's being purposefully offensive, maybe trying to catch a headline or two.
Well, no, I don't think that was the case at all. I think it was a mistake. You know what I mean? Which, when you're a celebrity, you can't have those types of mistakes. You know what I mean? Because they're you can't be walking around saying that to anybody.
Yeah, that's
You should be saying that if you're a normal person.
That wasn't fine for Hulk Hogan 10 years ago.
Yeah.
In a private conversation that happened to be recorded because his son was in prison and they were on the phone and he dropped the N-bomb a few times. So he got kicked out of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's great.
Wasn't on the product for almost, it was years, which was a welcome dismissal because I am not a Hogan fan. But it's the same thing. This guy cannot. No. Was it justified? Do I think that Hogan should have been punished for something that he felt privately? No. The fact that it leaked is you have to react to that as that company.
But at the same time, I get it. You have to react, like you said. But at the same time, he was doing it in what he thought was private. Even though when you're talking to somebody in prison that your phone call's recorded.
Right, but
they shouldn't be able to leak that information.
Yeah, it's not common for phone calls from prisoners and their loved ones to get out in public. Yeah, no, I get that. That's who was homeboy out in California who dropped the N-bomb? I want to say he owned the Lakers.
No, it was the old guy there that owned. It wasn't the Lakers. It was
Clippers.
The Clippers.
Same arena. So that guy. Now you know me. I hate racism. But that guy said all kinds of things to his wife in the privacy of their own home. Didn't know he was being recorded, from what I understand, and she then leaked all that stuff, and he caught hella shit for it. It completely altered the way he was living his life. I'm sure it still to this day affects him in some way, shape, or form. That I don't agree with. I don't agree with his stance one bit, but in the privacy of his own home, he should be able to have an opinion. He should be able to vocalize that opinion. And I got news for you. If you think his wife was innocent in that, she married him. She knew who he was. And then when she was done with him, she went, well, now I'm going to show people what an ugly person he is. To me, that showed what an ugly person she is, because she married him, she knew who he was, so she obviously either shared those opinions with him or didn't mind that he had them.
Well, no, I think the guy was 90 or something, so she was obviously after the moolah.
Yeah, it's still like she still was aware.
Oh,
of
she's
who
still
he
a
was.
piece of shit.
Yeah, for throwing him under the bus for something that she knew about all that time and kept quiet about for whatever her motivations were.
Well, she couldn't get over the wrinkly balls.
Ugh, man, it's like a walnut, like a soft walnut shell, I assume.
Ugh. But anyway, back to NASCAR. But I think this weekend, actually, possibly today's Sunday, they're racing up in New Hampshire, and I think they're allowing crowds of people. I think they've been allowing crowds of people in to watch the races.
The new part of NASCAR is that they are, as they're driving, they're going to take left-hand turns. So that's super exciting. That's an addition to NASCAR this year. They're going to turn left all fucking day long.
I don't understand what
I think the fans are going to be excited for.
I don't understand what your hate about it is. I mean, if you've ever seen it in person, which I know you haven't, you should.
You know what I have done that was more entertaining on a global market scale than NASCAR is I have been blindfolded and then spun in circles like your left-hand turns and then forced to swing a bat at a piñata. And that should be... If we have to choose between those two sports, I say piñata baseball over NASCAR all day.
I think if you went to a NASCAR race and saw how crazy... Like, yes, they're taking a left-hand turn. But there's a lot that goes into it, Pat. They're driving inches away from each other. These are some of the best athletes in the world.
That sounds like Waterbury every morning when I'm going to work.
Yeah, whatever you say about it.
Bunch of assholes trying to smash into my car and me playing defense.
Yeah, sure. And they don't try to smash into each other's car. That's the skill, is not crashing into each other's car. Unless your last name is Earnhardt and Robin's racing.
See, I wasn't going to make that joke. I wasn't going to make the Earnhardt joke.
Well, because you would have made a joke about him being killed in a car.
That's true.
Yeah, you're a horrible person.
Hold on, this guy who died, Earnhardt, his slogan was "Rubbin' is racing."
No, that wasn't. But
oh,
have you ever seen Days of Thunder?
He was the Intimidator, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Days of Thunder?
Is that with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
No.
Are you serious?
Do you know why? Because it's about fucking race cars.
It's fucking an awesome movie.
That said, there's a new Fast and Furious coming out, which for some reason I can't get enough of. Those fucking movies are good. I don't get it. Everything about them is stupid. They're not good actors. They don't have good storylines. They have way unrealistic drama and action. And, there are, people jumping out of helicopters, landing on cars that are going 130 miles an hour. And for some reason, I am holding on to the bottom of the theater seat because I've spent $20 for a ticket to see this bitch. And I can't get enough of fucking Vin Diesel and The Rock. And now John Cena, I love these movies.
John Cena is what's Vin Diesel's character name there?
Dom.
Yeah, Dom Toretto.
Yeah.
It's his brother, his long lost brother, his younger brother. We watched the trailer for it last night. Looks legit. A lot of flying cars.
It looks so bad, and I cannot wait to see it.
But you know what? We're all gonna go fucking see it.
Oh my god, guaranteed. I love it. That's have you ever seen Big Trouble Little China?
No.
Greatest bad movie ever made. Anybody listening to this who has not seen Big Trouble Little China, you want to treat yourself to something special, watch the movie. For the last hour and 25 minutes of it, you'll wonder why you're still watching, and you will not be able to turn away. It is so captivating for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch that. All right, so moving forward, we're going to do our last topic today, which we think we're going to talk about what everybody thinks about the defunding of police. Pat, what's your take on it?
That's a loaded question, man. Defunding the police. I think the first thing I would think is that people have a huge misconception of what it means. I have spoken to people who are like, haha, somebody breaks into your house with a gun and who are you going to call because the cops don't exist anymore. No, that's not what defunding the police means. Actually, I mean, we've defunded lots of things, including, DCF that's a portion of defunding the police. Tax money goes to DCF, and DCF does a portion of work that could arguably be something that would have been on the police workload at some point.
Yeah, so, we touched on this a little bit in the last podcast. I am 100% pro-police. Pat, not so much. which whatever, he's entitled to that opinion. I understand his reasonings behind some of it. But at the same time, you're exactly right. So defunding the police means that they're going to allocate the money into other systems and stuff like that. The problem is that I don't trust the people that say that they're going to reallocate these funds. I mean, I've dealt with DCF. You've dealt with DCF in the past. It's a horrible, horrible state-run problem.
Do you trust the police more than you trust those people?
Yes.
I've never read a headline about DCF murdering anybody.
I'm not disagreeing with you with that, but DCF, I bet you can look up, and I haven't, but you can look up headlines where somebody got murdered because DCF didn't do their job.
No doubt. You could also find those about police officers.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that police officers, and listen, I'm not saying that there doesn't need to be some sort of reform with police officers, because there are bad cops. There's no doubt about it.
So if defunding them and reallocating those funds to something that makes more sense isn't the right answer, then what is the right answer? And if now is not the right time, then when would be the right time?
I think the right answer would be not defunding them, maybe reallocating some of the funds for them into better training. Also, we need, like, I watched a video probably about a month or so ago that there was somebody got shot in another state. I don't know what state it was, but there was an advocate that was going against the police, right? And so the police department invited him to go do a training, and there was 3 different scenarios that you could decide whether or not to use
Deadly force
or any force at all, right? And,
sure. And
try and de-escalate the situation. And when that advocate that was harping on, like, the cops should be fired, blah, 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 he once got killed. The guy got killed. The other time killed an innocent person. And the third time was able to de-escalate it and found weapons on the person. So
I think that's a great experiment on paper, and I think that it makes for a great headline and a great story. I also think that if you took somebody who complained about their food at a restaurant and brought them in the back in the kitchen and gave them, like several trials to make a meal properly, they might burn one, they might undercook one, but that doesn't mean that, like, chefs are gods among people. Police aren't gods among people. So, of course, somebody would fuck something up in a training. That's what training is for. And I agree that funds should be, additional funds should be used for better training of police officers. But not taking some of the responsibility away from police officers, because listen, while you say that I'm not pro police officer, which isn't entirely true, they have far too much responsibility, they have far too much power, and they make far too many mistakes. That's not a individual problem. I know police officers. I am friends with police officers. I don't blame them personally for the overbearing nature of their work. So if a cop goes into a house, right, and there's a domestic violence issue, if I'm a cop, because I could be a cop tomorrow, any one of us could just go be a cop if we're willing to go through the training. It's not like you need some kind of ridiculous quota to be met to be a cop. I'm pretty sure you can't be a felon. I think that's it. I'm not positive on that. But
I think it's a little bit more in depth than that.
They don't need a degree, which is fine with me. I don't think that any job should require a degree unless it literally could not be done without it. But so, fuck. Where was I going?
I don't know.
Oh, no. So I sympathize with police. I do. Because if I, being the cop now, right, I finished my training to be a cop, and I read somewhere that barbers go through more training than police officers. I don't know how accurate that is. That seems far-fetched. But
I bet you
they may go through, like, more hours of, like, schoolwork. I don't know.
That's what I would say. Because, like, I think if you're going to go be a hairdresser or something like that, you probably spend 12 months going to classes.
Right.
But they're probably 4-hour classes.
Well, here's the thing. The fact that those two things are close enough for us to be like, oh, that might be exaggerated, I don't really know. That shouldn't be an issue. In order to be a police officer, you should be like, holy shit, I made it. Like, I can't believe I got through all the rigorous tests and rigorous training and the ridiculous things that I had to go through.
I don't think that's true because our friend Chez there, his baby mama is going to be a state cop. and she has to live at the academy. So you're there 24 hours a day, and it's a 6-month program.
As a state cop.
Yeah.
State cop training is militaristic, opposing to civilians. So the reason that state cops go through much more rigorous training is because state cops work alone. So when, like, on your shift, if you pull somebody over and you call for backup, you got 10 minutes. You're on your own. Where municipal cops, generally speaking, have partners or backup very close by. So state cops, yes, go through much better training. So, okay, boom, start there. Now all cops have to go through what state cops have to go through. That's a good start.
Yep.
I'm fine with any movement in the right direction.
Look, like, this is the way I look at it, right? And this is what really caught my attention. It happened about a month ago. New York City caught $1 billion, defunded the police by $1 billion in wake of all this stuff that's going on. And, like, from what I understand, New York City's way safer now than it was even 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, New York City's not a bad place.
Yeah, like, it was portrayed to me like there's bad parts, just like there's anywhere.
Well, so a part of that is because of the mafia, but a lot of the mafia issue has been solved, and opening the bridge to New Jersey allowed the mafia to kind of like, that was like funneling the shit down the toilet, because once they built the bridge to New Jersey, the mafia moved out of New York so that they could operate in New York but live in New Jersey. So that helped New York immensely.
A little Tony Soprano going on.
That's right.
But to cut $1 billion out of that, and listen, New York City is huge. They got to have. I was thinking about this morning. Say the average cop in New York City probably makes $100,000. I don't know if that's accurate, right? But I would say that's, if they're not making $100,000, they should be, right?
Police officers?
Yes.
And where?
New York City.
They're not.
Okay, but they should be.
I'm hitting the Google. You make your point.
So to cut $1 billion, and listen, it's not just cutting police officers out, right? But to cut $1 billion, that's over 1,000, or it's over like 100,000 cops, which obviously that's not. They don't have oh no, it's not 100. It's a lot of cops that they're getting rid of, and that means they're not updating their cars, they're not updating their training. Like, they should
starting salary for NYPD is $42,500.
That's disgusting.
That is off of NYC.gov.
That's disgusting.
So, okay.
Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe we
There
should...
you go. So what you have is you have people who are willing to work for less money than I'm willing to work for in a city that's more expensive to live in.
Yeah.
So, problem number one, who are you getting for $42,500? You're getting true, die-hard people who are passionate about making the world a better place because they're willing to work for that amount of money. And you're getting people who think it would be fun to be a cop. You're getting people who have an axe to grind. I mean, that you're not enticing the cream of the crop at $42,500 a year.
No, because they can go do fucking anything else. You and I both make significantly more than a New York police officer.
Correct.
Which is, to me, absolutely fucking disgusting.
I agree.
So maybe that's part of the problem. I mean, there's a
But
lot
you're
of different
saying, you're
problems.
saying like they take this $1 billion and it just magically disappears.
No,
so
I don't.
me.
No, I know
follow
that.
me now.
I know it
you
doesn't
have
disappear.
a company, right? So take like a place like we work, where we have. So we work in a department that's like its own company, and we have mechanics, and we have counter people, and we have all these different positions. Now, they could probably hire 3 or 4 more people, right? So add to that funding for our department, but then we don't have the accounting department behind us, and we don't have the receptionist team behind us. So wouldn't you rather defund our department and utilize more resources to get the job? So take money away from our department and make sure we have really quality receptionists, and make sure that we have an accounting team, so we're not fumbling around trying to do those things, which is what defunding the police is about. So let's have maybe even less cops, right? Okay, so we have a few less cops, but now when a cop goes into a domestic violence situation, which this is where I was headed before. So I go into a domestic violence situation, my instinct is to get that. We're going to use a very easy one. We're going to use a man and a woman who are married and don't have kids. All right. So the woman is the victim of the domestic violence in this particular scenario. I want to get that woman out of that situation. That's the first thing I'm thinking as just like a normal human being. And that's the way my brain works because I'm a normal human being. So I want to get her out of that situation. I'm not super familiar with what to do with her. I know that there are shelters for those situations. I know that I can put her with family. I also know that the vast majority of those cases end up with that story changing to it was a misunderstanding or I lied, and then they end up back together. Now, maybe I am a little bit of a tough guy instead of what I consider to be normal. So I go into that situation, the first thing I'm thinking is, I want to beat this guy's ass. Give him a taste of his own medicine, right? So maybe that's how it goes down, which then causes this woman to basically develop Stockholm Syndrome right there in front of me. So she's going to go running back to this guy because she feels bad for the person who's receiving the treatment that he was giving to her 2 hours ago because it took me 2 hours to get there. So what if instead of just sending a cop to that situation, we take some of that money that we've now reallocated and we send a social worker with that police officer to handle that situation with them. The social worker has more access to resources to find that woman help. Technically, just by being an innocent bystander, by being a witness, protects the man who, God knows why he lost his temper. Maybe he needs to be medicated. Maybe he needs help with alcohol or drugs. But I didn't mention any of those things as the reporting officer. I wanted to get the woman out of the situation. I wanted to handle the man. Maybe a social worker would be the best answer in that situation. I'm not saying send a social worker because somebody got beat up. I'm saying send a social worker to work in conjunction with the police officer. So there's all that money just gets dumped into, now we have a team of people going into a situation that requires more than one person going. It doesn't require just a social worker. It doesn't require just a cop. It requires a team of people to find out why it happened, how can we stop it from happening in the future, does somebody need to be punished, or does somebody need help?
Yeah, I mean...
That to me is what defunding the police is all about. And that goes for, children who are being abused. That goes for adults who are being abused. I also think that defunding the police will take away imprisonment for victimless crimes. If we have less money in the police force, are you getting arrested and imprisoned for pot? Well, probably not. Bigger fish to fry.
That doesn't happen anymore, but...
Well, it doesn't happen here.
Most states is but I get what you're saying.
There are people in prison right now for pot. Right now, that have not been freed and released.
Yeah, that's a state issue. That's not a police issue.
Okay, but what we're talking about is defunding the police, which is going to be a state issue. It's not going to be a federal
issue. But if you still get, so if you're in one of those states and you get stopped by the cops and you have weed on you, and they have to arrest you, again, that's a law issue. That's not a cop issue.
Well, you don't have to arrest somebody for a misdemeanor. So first off, if it's misdemeanor, no arrest. But, so let's say it's...
But they have to go to court, and that's who determines whether or not they're going to jail.
Yeah, I don't think anything that's a victimless crime should be addressed by police.
Then how do they get in trouble?
If there's no victim?
It's a crime.
Small government, no punishment.
But then why have the laws in place?
That's a great question. Why have the laws in place? If there's not a victim to what you're doing, why have a rule against it?
So selling drugs drugs in general should not be illegal.
No. Marijuana should not be illegal. I don't know of a victim from a marijuana related crime.
Okay, but
heroin will make you steal your mother's TV. I mean, there are victims when we talk about hard drugs.
Okay, so name another victimless crime.
Other than what?
Marijuana.
Jaywalking.
You know somebody in jail for jaywalking? You know somebody that got a ticket for jaywalking?
It's a law. You can get a ticket for jaywalking.
And yes, that's not a victimless crime. You're putting yourself at danger. That's why it's a law. Because you can get hit by a car. That's why you have to walk in crosswalks.
I mean, by that logic, driving is a victimless crime is not a victimless crime because you could get hurt.
No. Like, there's certain areas where you're supposed to walk in crosswalks to avoid getting hit by cars.
That's true.
Just like there's certain places where you're supposed to drive to be safe.
Also true.
So if you're driving your car down a sidewalk, you can't do that. That's illegal.
So you think that people should get ticketed or arrested for jaywalking?
No, I do not think that. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is the laws are there for a reason.
It's illegal to tie your pet giraffe to a telephone pole in New York.
So don't bring your pet giraffe to New York.
I'm just saying a lot of laws are outdated.
I'm not disagreeing.
That's my point.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but all I'm trying to say is that if I'm with you on the weed thing. Weed should be legal, but right now it's not. In most states, it's decriminalized, which is great. So the most you're going to get is a fine. But the reason the laws are there, and somebody has to enforce those laws.
I'm not against that in any way, shape, or form. I think that laws should be enforced. I also think there should be less laws. If what I do doesn't affect your life, your liberty, or your pursuit to happiness, I'm not committing a crime.
Me shooting heroin doesn't affect your life, your pursuit of happiness, whatever else you said.
That's not at all true. Because heroin very, very frequently leads to heavy crime. Not to mention...
Okay, but doing the heroin...
If you shooting heroin doesn't, okay? Heroin itself is illegal. So heroin use shouldn't be illegal. Fine. Not a victim in that crime. Possession of heroin should be. Because how'd the heroin get to America? No matter what your answer is, it was illegal. And no matter what your answer is, you knew it was illegal when you bought the product. So that is not a victimless crime.
Okay. We're going to have to agree to disagree on this one.
I'm looking for a short list. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it of victimless crimes because I had a couple in my head a few days ago.
Again, I'm not saying here's the thing. You want to know and we're going down this crazy spiral of the thing. And I understand it can happen to anybody. You don't have to break the law to encounter police officers. People can lie and put you in situations to be in trouble with the law. But that's not the majority of people. The majority of people that run into problems with the law were breaking the law at some point. And police officers do overreact to certain... what happened to Floyd, right? What happened to that guy is absolutely disgusting. Right? But there was 4 cops there that didn't do anything about it.
So what you think is we should continue paying all those cops, or even more cops, for what?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I think... Listen, you can't... 99% of police officers are good people. 99%. It's a guarantee.
Where are you getting that statistic?
It's an assumption. Okay, we'll do 51% of cops are still good cops.
Again, where are you getting that number? Earlier, you made reference to, the clergy being bad people. But
the clergy?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
When we were talking about dressing up as clergy for Halloween. Priests are part of the clergy. So...
They are.
99% of them are?
No. I would say 1% of them are.
Good people.
99% of them are good people, I'm sure.
Okay. Where are you getting that number?
There's no way to measure it, Pat.
This goes back to me sympathizing with police. The idea that some people believe 99% of cops are good people isn't possible. It's not realistic because not 99% of any job is filled with good people.
I believe 99% of the world is good people, and we focus on the 1% that's bad.
I don't think those numbers are accurate.
Okay.
I mean, think of the people that you come in contact with every day.
And also, what do you consider a good person? I think 99% of the people in the world wouldn't kill another person.
Does that make them good people?
Yes.
So you think that war is only for bad people?
No, I think war is horrible.
But only bad people fight it.
But people stand up for their country. That's totally different.
I don't understand. You just got done saying,
okay, Mr.
if
Literal,
you're willing to kill, you're a bad person.
I don't think...
Cops are willing to kill. Shit, cops will kill George Floyd in the middle of the street in broad daylight because he passed a $20 bill off as real.
Okay. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying, or you're taking it literally, like, literal, right? Yeah. Which is, you're Mr. fucking literal, and it drives me insane. Okay?
So true.
What I'm saying is, I think the world that we live in today wants to focus on only the bad instead of looking at the good. Like the fucking Tim Tebow thing. They're focusing on the fact that the guy was talking about God instead of the fact that he was posting an inspirational video and promoting kindness and goodness and believing in yourself and staying the course.
We're going to get off topic, but I promise I'll get back on topic. So we're getting off topic because do you know why we all focus on bad?
Because it's what the news puts in front of us.
Do you know why it's what the news puts in front of us?
Because it fucking catches people's attention.
Do you know why? We're going in the right direction. Do you know why it catches people's attention?
Because people want to hear bad shit.
Technically, that's not true. Here's why. It's evolution, right? So at one point, you and I had our little, lion skin suits on, and we're out hunting. And we had to be constantly aware of our surroundings. So what were we looking for? We were looking for the danger, the bad. Because the good didn't concern us. We weren't fighting against the good. We weren't looking for, apple trees that might kill us in the middle of the night. We were looking for danger. As we evolved, we continue to only look for danger. We've continued to only try to protect ourselves. The media has taken advantage of this. It is extremely profitable to put the bad in front of me. It's extremely profitable to put the bad on television and the bad in the newspapers because that's what I need to read. I need to know all of these dangers that I'm facing, right? That's why we don't have puppy adoptions all day, every day on the news, which I would much rather watch. At the end of the day, I would much rather see little teeny tiny puppies playing in a little field than George Floyd get a fucking knee driven into his carotid artery for 8 minutes. Yeah, but it's profitable. So that's where that comes from. Just so we're clear, it's not like...
Listen, I understand that the media is the biggest problem that we have.
Very true.
It's 100% the biggest problem that we have. And to the point where I try not to watch the news. Like I say, I've said it probably 5 times since we've been recording stuff. I try not to watch the news. I try not to... whatever I see in my Twitter feed or my Facebook feed is what I'm seeing, and most of it's news headlines or whatever. If it intrigues me, I'll go and look and find different sources. But it's all biased. It's all...
All right, you ready? Victimless crimes. Sorry, we're getting back on topic now. Cheating your taxes, considered a victimless crime.
You shouldn't go to jail for
that? I think you should have to pay the right amount plus some kind of bonus. So if you cheat your taxes for 1 year, you should pay 110% of what you were supposed to pay. If you cheat your taxes for 10 years, you should pay 200% of what you were supposed to pay for the entire 10 years, right? There's no benefit to putting somebody in prison for cheating their taxes. You don't need a police officer to go to that person's house at any point for cheating taxes.
Well, how are they going to go to court?
Mail them a letter? Send them an email?
This person can't pay their taxes. You think that they're just going to show up to court?
I don't think it's about them being able to pay their taxes.
This person is...
This person's cheating their taxes.
Yes, this person's trying to cheat their taxes.
Yeah.
And you think sending them a letter... there has to be some sort of enforcement to get that person to face the charges that they're going to face.
Have you ever been to a courthouse?
Yes, multiple times.
And what was the name of the officer who had to come handcuff you and drag you there?
I've never been to a courthouse for a criminal charge.
Hold on, just to be clear. So you're saying that these people who have committed a victimless crime are incapable of getting to court.
No.
But you, who didn't even commit a crime, you just strolled on in.
I've never been in a situation where I went to court for something criminal.
But you were still able to get yourself into court.
Listen.
For whatever reason.
Mine, I went to court to benefit me. I wasn't in trouble.
Okay.
The other person that was supposed to go to court that was in trouble didn't show up. So maybe, yes, maybe a police officer should have brought that person to the courthouse.
What you're actually talking about.
Shit, the last
that's not
time
even criminal court, correct?
That's what I'm trying to say. I've never been to criminal court.
Right. So, okay. But you think that people have to be brought to court by the police?
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, I agree with you. So that person doesn't show up for their court case, right?
Right.
What happens then?
Okay, so evading a court case would be a separate crime.
It's still kind of victimless. The only person you're affecting is yourself.
Well, no. I'm not sure that that's accurate at all.
Who else are you affecting?
Well, the entire system at that point. See, you're literally saying,
He's affecting the system by
I don't
not
care
paying.
about the system. I'm not willing to
He
follow
said that
the
when he
laws.
didn't pay his taxes.
All right, and there was a punishment in place for that. So now we've stepped this up a level. Now we're talking about a whole different crime. We're saying,
so we're on level 2. Okay.
Yeah, you got caught.
So now we can have a police officer go. Or somebody, some court martial or something.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, next one.
Employing illegal workers. I got to tell you, I don't think that's a victimless crime.
Me neither. How is that a fucking victimless crime?
Well, I guess it doesn't hurt anybody.
Sure it does. It hurts
but
people that are fucking actual citizens.
Well, hold
anymore.
on, because the term "hurt" is what we need to be flexible on. It doesn't physically harm anybody,
But it affects.
but it interrupts their ability to pursue happiness if there are not jobs available because you've employed illegal workers.
Yeah,
I do not agree that that's a victimless
that is
crime.
not going to hit well with this.
This
our
one,
audience.
110%, not a victim in the world for this crime. Prostitution. That's a victimless crime. I absolutely agree.
Listen, to be fair, there is a victim in all this with prostitutes.
The prostitute?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think that being a prostitute should be a victimless crime. I do think that forcing people to be prostitutes is a very, very, very much a disgusting crime.
Yes. Those are two different crimes.
Right. So, like the Bunny Ranch out in Vegas being legal, I 110% agree. There should be more of those places. In fact, that would probably cut down on the number of serial killers in the world. Like if everybody had access
But see, it's
to
such a
brothel.
gray area, right? It's such a gray area because, one, how do you tell if you're being forced to be a prostitute or not? But two, a lot of these women are doing it because they have no self worth, I would imagine, and they think that's the only way that they can make money, which they're the victim of their own crime.
I still think that's a victimless crime.
It's like a heroin. It's like somebody that ODs.
So you think that because this woman...
Listen, I'm not great. Listen, I'm pro prostitution. If I can go get a Hummer in the back alley,
Not the vehicle.
yeah, you know what I mean.
He means mouth love.
Yeah, if I can go get that done and pay $20 and not have to burden my wife with that chore, I'm all about
Yeah, I'm talking like this would be like on my lunch break. Like, yo, what are you running McDonald's? Like, nah, I'm going to go get a beach.
it. Yeah, and I'm gonna take a nap. We get an hour for lunch.
Yeah, I'm with you. But you're saying that they're criminals. This actually, I would put this right in line. This is absolutely a victimless crime, and this is another example of where I don't think you need 6 police officers to, break down a street corner that's got a couple prostitutes on it, where you could have some people who advocate for women, some people who are mental health experts, some people who can find them jobs that have decent wage. Those people could approach the street corner with a police officer in tow if they so choose, if it's a dangerous street corner. But again, you don't need an armed squad of officers running down prostitutes. You yourself said these are women who probably have no self-esteem. They're probably beaten down by life.
Well, and not for nothing. How many of them are, like you said, almost being forced to do it?
Right.
Maybe
So can we send some
are
people?
part of some sex trafficking ring or something?
$150.
I mean, we read a statistic the other day that 40 million people are involved in
sex trafficking,
human trafficking, which, by the way, huge industry, $150 billion a year. Me and Pat are looking into it. We'll let you guys know.
We are not looking into it together. I do think so. In that situation, if that's a victimless crime, and it is to me a victimless crime, prostitution, we send a police officer with a team of professionals to get women out of that situation. The next one, illegal gambling. That's a tough one because gambling is an addiction. So,
but it's not victimless. It's victimless because you're only affecting yourself.
I do agree that it's victimless in the same sense that I agree that like possession of drugs, like harder drugs, is kind of victimless. Like you're still hurting people with a gambling addiction.
Well, you're not until you are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, and listen, when you're hurting other people, it's a different crime. It ends up being like burglary or theft or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Assault and you're robbing people, robbery. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that's a victimless crime. As well as...
I reluctantly agree that is a victimless crime.
As well as heroin possession.
Begging. That's a great one. Panhandlers. Begging on the street corner. Absolutely a victimless crime. Literally sitting there with a cardboard sign. You and I could do that right now, and we would not get arrested for it.
Here's my problem with it, right? One, I don't think many of them get arrested. But two, I believe what that does is, at least for me, because I consider myself a decent person, even though you would disagree. I see a panhandler begging on a street corner, and I start reflecting on my life and how good it is. And I feel bad, so I give that person some money because they're saying they're less fortunate than me. We really have no idea. I don't know that guy. I could literally not shower for a couple days, go out and collect money on the street corner, and probably make more. I've seen stories of people making more money doing that than they do actually working. They have nicer houses than I do. So I don't think it should be legal because I'm the victim where I'm giving you money of my hard-earned money. Now, in places like where my parents live in Virginia, Hampton, that town actually has the reason it's... And not every town or city is like this because obviously New York City's not like this. Fucking California is a shithole right now with this. But they have shelters for everybody year-round. They have food banks open year-round for people. And so they actually tell you not to give them any money to make them go get these services that the town provides.
All right. Now, just for ha-has, with all this money we use to defund the police, what if every city built some of those shelters? What if every worn down, run down, no longer used vacant mall in America was turned into either a mental health facility or a shelter? Are you still against defunding the police? Because now you don't need as many cops because now there's less people panhandling this victimless crime.
Well, but listen, I'm all for that type of shit.
You actually make more money in the long run because now you don't have to give money to people because they're in a nice facility.
But you know what's going to eventually happen?
What's that?
My taxes are going to get raised to start paying for the shit.
Your taxes are already being raised to fund the police.
I understand that.
So we're taking the same money and
because I'm going to go back to the original statement that I made at the beginning of this. It's not that I have a problem with them reallocating funds, right? I live in a city. I live in Torrington, Connecticut, where the school spends $100 million or $10 million a year on sending kids to different school districts to get schooled because they can't do it. Instead of hiring the right people to help those kids, I'm paying more in taxes because they could probably do that and build a new school for less than $10 million a year and put those 100 kids that they outplace every year into a separate school.
Just to be clear, what you're saying is it would cost less money to come up with a better solution if they allocated the funds appropriately.
Yes.
So you are 110% behind defunding the police because that's the exact same idea.
Yes, but the problem is I don't trust the people in charge. And listen, I'm all about voting. You need to go out and vote. But at the end of the day, they all lie. They all lie.
Oh, you're putting the cart before the horse here. We're talking about defunding the police. You're talking about crooked politicians.
But who do you think allocates the funds? And it's all mayor run.
Okay, so by that logic, despite the fact that I feel you're grossly off topic, by that logic, so don't defund the police. Keep dumping money in the police department. You still have all the same politicians. So nothing good has come of this. Where if we defund the police, reallocate those funds through those crooked politicians, at least some good is coming from it.
We think. We have no idea. What if nothing changes?
Well, it's not possible for nothing to change.
What if it gets worse, Pat?
That is possible. I don't think it would happen, but here's the thing. There's a possibility it doesn't get worse. There's a possibility it gets much, much, much better. And if it does get worse, you can always stop the program and call it a failure. You cannot stop the program once it's succeeding if you never get it started. You cannot continue the program while it's succeeding if you never get it started. This has to start.
Okay, so, and listen, I think I understand your point, right? So they want to defund the police, reallocate funds and everything. So what if the same amount of innocent people get killed by random people instead of the police because they're not being policed the same way that they were before?
In that case, we have a system in place for that. The people who are doing the killing would get arrested because we're not taking all of the police away. We're arresting bad
I understand
guys.
what you're saying, but the same amount of innocent people got killed. So what the fuck's the difference?
Well, killing isn't the only issue. So let's just say the same number of people get killed. There's no way under this idea of sending trained psychologists and psychiatrists to be around all of these mentally unwell people, because that's what this is really about. This is going to turn into, we have no clue how bad the mental health in America is until we start treating people like they're unwell instead of they're just fucking bad people. They must be fucking awful people. They're not. They're unwell. So,
yeah, but what considers them unwell? Like, there's so many. I think we're getting way off topic, but like, there's so many different categories of unwell. Like, what's different today with mental health than was 40 years ago? We didn't have these same problems with mental health. We had worse problems 40 years ago with social injustice and everything, and why people are starting to talk about defunding the police. But what's the difference?
Okay, so you think that the state of mental health is better now than it was before?
No.
You think it's worse?
I think it's probably the same. Maybe. I think it's highlighted more because, again, now today it's easier to see the bad shit people do than it was 40 years ago, because we didn't have I can open up at work, we get fucking MSN. The first thing that pops up when you open up an internet browser, and 9 out of 10 of the stories are bad shit that are going on.
So you think that mental health is in the same state it was 40 years ago, we just see more of it?
I think it's more amplified.
Okay. I don't agree with that. I think mental health has taken a dramatic decline.
But what brought it to that point? Why do you think that? What do you think the change was that brought it to be worse?
I think that there's really bad learned behavior that we're seeing. I think so. Even if we go back to like Vietnam, like all the soldiers coming back and just I shouldn't say all the soldiers. That's super fucked up for me to say. A good portion of the soldiers coming back and relying on alcohol to get through their day. Right now, a good portion of those now alcoholic, very young people are also raising families. So now all of those children that are being raised in the homes of one or two alcoholics, statistically speaking, that's a dramatic opportunity to have all of those children growing up to be alcoholics and drug addicts. I'm not making that up. That is statistically accurate. One parent...
Where did you get that statistic?
There's a book called Perfect Daughters that you can read.
Is that a person's opinion or...
No, that book breaks down the statistics and explains like if one of your parents is an alcoholic, it makes you like X times more likely to be an alcoholic. But if both of your parents are an alcoholic, that makes you even greater more likely to be an alcoholic. So this starts at some point, right, with a very large incline in substance abuse. And it gets worse with each generation. So what we're also watching is we're watching children be neglected, right? It's no longer like go out and play in the street because I'm too busy to watch you in the street, or I don't want to watch you in the street. Listen, there are really good parents out there. Tommy goes out and rides bikes with his son and plays football with his son and does that stuff in the middle of the road like you guys would have seen in the early 90s. And it's wonderful. I don't think that Tommy's son is walking into a school anytime soon and being violent towards other kids or claiming to be a victim of anything or being a bully or saying he's being bullied. I don't think that Tommy's son is going to go through those things because he's in a home where there's a set of present parents who are not abusing substances, right? But not all kids are that fortunate. And we're seeing more and more people not taking care of their children. We're seeing more and more people not taking care of, just life in general. And that's getting worse. Mental health is getting worse as a result. Anxiety's through the roof. ADHD, ADD, all through the roof. And you can say, like, yes, we pay more attention to it. We pay more attention to those things because those things need more attention. And like you said, the crime rate in New York is down, right? So the crime rate is down, but this mental health problem is skyrocketing. So the solution to this so far has been continue pumping money into the crime problem, but there hasn't, from what I know of, been a huge influx in the attempt to solve the mental health problem. So let's take some of that funding from a problem that's much less of a problem than it was before, and let's put it towards the new problem. Like if I broke my right leg and it needed to heal, and it was 2 days away from healing, and I broke my left leg, I would pay much less attention to my right leg that's almost healed. It's doing significantly better. I can walk on it. I wouldn't be like, well, the left leg doesn't matter because the right leg was hurt a long time ago, so I should keep paying all of my attention to that. No, I would allocate some of my care to my left leg.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I got from you out of that was this comes down to bad parents.
No, because nobody ever is willing to say that they're the bad guy. Nobody goes into life thinking that they're a bad guy. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I can't wait to be a bad guy. Everybody thinks that what they're doing is right. So, people who are not
but you know who taught you right from wrong?
Your parents?
Yes.
That's a big portion of it. But again, that goes back to were your parents healthy?
Were my parents healthy?
No, the person in question. If we have an unhealthy person, were that person's parents healthy? Because you're saying this is all in the parents. This is also in their food. This is in the, one bad trip can leave somebody in a very bad state.
Bad trip?
Bad trip.
From doing drugs?
Yeah.
Well, don't do drugs.
Okay. Well,
like me.
Here's the thing. People are going to do drugs.
Well, Pat, the only drug I've ever done in my entire life is smoke some weed. Occasionally, very occasionally, drink some alcohol.
I don't understand what your point is. So is your point that...
Well, don't do it. It's that simple. Just don't fucking do it.
Well, for some people, it's not... For some people, it's not that simple.
And I'm an addict, right? I'm a food addict. I'm a fucking nicotine addict, right? We say this all the time. I know that I'm an addict. So you know what I don't do?
The first time? Don't use the drug the first time?
Yes. I don't use the drug the first time.
I don't disagree. Some of those things are a slippery slope. You remember that old thing that we used to watch in elementary school? They would play it in dare class or middle school whenever you got it. And it was that marijuana was a gateway drug.
Yeah, and to an extent, it is. Because it's your first time experimenting with drugs. And if you like marijuana, you are probably more likely to experiment with other drugs. Some kids don't. Some kids do.
Yeah.
I experimented with it. I fucking hate it.
Because it made you hungrier?
No. If it made me hungrier, Pat, I would love it. I love eating food. But I don't like being high. It's not my thing. Never has been.
All right. We have strayed very far off topic. I do think mental health is a topic for another day. I think that you are...
Really? You just talked for 40 minutes about it.
I didn't even dent mental health.
You need some fucking mental health.
I think that everybody needs a little TLC into their own brain.
Listen.
That's very true.
Not me. I'm perfect.
For example, an egotistical maniac would need some TLC into his
My
brain.
next thing is I'm going to run for president.
You want me to just keep repeating what I've said now?
Well, I'm just, Anyway.
I'm going to start calling you Tom Ye.
All right, I think this is a good place to close it out. I want to thank everybody for listening.
Whoa. What is our conclusion on defunding the police?
Pat wants to defund them. I'm still, I understand the reasoning behind it.
Do you understand? Do you agree that it would be beneficial to do it?
I'm not ready to make that decision yet.
All right, let's break this down one more time.
Listen, I don't want to go through the whole... I get it. The point of this podcast isn't to change my mind about anything.
No, I get that.
I understand. I have to think about it and to have dead airways while I'm thinking about it. Maybe in the next couple episodes we can revisit this issue, and maybe I'll have some more light on the situation. But until then, right now, I'm staying impartial. I understand both sides of it, and I'm not ready to make a decision.
I think that we should get rid of hospitals, we should get rid of paramedics, and we should give all the additional funding we get from them to the police department and just have the cops do surgeries as well.
You're a fucking idiot.
Oh, so it's insane to do it that way.
It's two different things.
We'll see. Anyways.
Most people like you, Pat, would just say, let's just raise taxes and then we can take care of all this.
Taxes would not fix this problem.
Why? We could make...
Because the money is already there. We already have the money to fix it.
Yeah, but we could raise taxes and then we can keep the police the way it is and support these other avenues.
I should be clear. I don't think that we should keep the police the way it is.
Well, because you want less cops.
No, because I want less power in the individual.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Again, there's a bunch of different ways they could do this. I'm not ready to say I feel one way or another.
You're right.
All right. Anyway, I think that's it. Let's probably end out on that note. Thanks everybody for listening. Again, follow us on Twitter. I changed the Twitter handle yesterday. I believe it's the number 9 pod or something like that. Number 9 pod @ You can, if you have any questions, any topics you want us to cover, you can email us, the number 9 podcast @gmail.com. Be sure to give us follow us on Twitter and give us a like on the Facebook page.
If there's a topic you want us to talk about, we're happy to talk about it. We'll run in circles just like we did on this one, just chasing each other's tails. The music clip at the beginning there was a very good friend of mine. His name is Q Money. Q Money is out in Hartford. That song is called Me Freda. It was a song that he made a very long time ago.
Love that song. Great song.
Still near and dear to my heart. He, technically speaking, he is a significantly better lyricist. He delivers better now. But that song really, for me, was like, man, we listened to that song. We worked together at the time. And we just listened to that song on repeat. We loved Me Freda. So that's why we chose that song. Again, Q Money. He has tons of music on YouTube. I just, if I'm going to YouTube him, I type in Q Money and then I type in Hartford and it pops right up. Lots of music from him. So we're going to play the whole song for you like we did last week with Scars. The song, again, Me Freda by Q Money. Absolutely love Q Money. He's a good dude. Actually, in a weird twist, he at one point was learning to be a Hartford police officer. So,
I know a Hartford police officer.
Appropriately put into this podcast.
I know the Hartford police officer. Great guy. His dad was the photographer at my wedding.
Oh,
Mike.
okay. Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you on next Monday.
Here it comes. Whether or not you really like this song, keep listening to Q Money. He's got a lot of different stuff and newer stuff and probably critically better stuff.
Connecticut people rap.
Get my head up in the sky so I stay
Life a struggle, gotta struggle, so I stay too much killing in the streets that me afraid of. Me afraid of. Me afraid of. Keep my head up in the sky, so I stay life a struggle, gotta struggle, so I stay too much killing in the streets that me afraid of. Me afraid of. Me afraid of. Too much killing in the streets that me afraid of. Gangsta boss a shot, but the man face it take off. When they see police man a take off. In palm out the road, running mouth, see the paper. Life a struggle, be the one causing trouble. Fighting out the road, be the one kill a couple. Every day in the hood, they catch a double. Shut up, burn a man, give him mortal. Me afraid of. Me afraid of. Too much killing in the streets that me afraid of. Me afraid of. Keep my head up in the sky, so I stay life a struggle, gotta struggle, so I stay too much killing in the streets that me afraid of. Me afraid of. Me afraid of. Keep my head up in the sky, so I stay life a struggle, gotta struggle, so I stay too much killing in the streets that me afraid of. Me afraid of. Me afraid of. As a little boy, me grew up in the ghetto. Drugs and the money, boy, they coming up to get you. All the crimes on the body, man, they touch you. Mama have to cry, move the family out the ghetto. Rules of the street, boy, me know me got to tell you. You have to learn, or let me have to tell you. Living life, but me know me can prepare you. And in your hand, shut a man, I fear you. Me afraid of. Me afraid of. Too much killing in the streets that me afraid of. Me afraid of. Keep my head up in the sky, so I stay life a struggle, gotta struggle, so I stay too much killing in the streets that me afraid of. Me afraid of. Me afraid of. Keep my head up in the sky, so I stay life a struggle, gotta struggle, so I stay too much killing in the streets that me afraid of. Me afraid of. Me afraid of. Keep my head up in the sky. Life a struggle, gotta struggle. Too much killing in the streets that me afraid of. Me afraid of. Keep my head up in the sky. Life a struggle, gotta struggle. Too much killing in the streets that me afraid of. Me afraid of.